Hey everybody, we're live. Thanks for checking out another stream. What week are we in now? This is week 26, I think. 26 weeks in a row I've done this. Keeping it consistent so far. Happy to say. If you like the videos I've been doing, or if this is the first one you've seen and you're liking what you're seeing, or you like the concept of where I'm going with my project and my streams that I've been doing, please throw me a like on the video. If you want to follow me or keep me motivated, throw me a subscribe. If you're following along live, feel free to post some comments in the live chat. And if you're checking this out after the stream, then put some comments in the chat if you want, or put some comments in the below the video, not in the chat, whatever they call that, the comment section. Just about whatever, whatever you see throughout the video. Feel free to jump around. I'm going to be doing my side project again, which is the building of the operating system in a browser. Is the concept. Operating system, a little loose. You got to do air quotes every time I say that. It's at least a desktop environment, I would say, or close to it in some way. Depending on how you want to define things, I think it could be called an operating system, but I'm being a bit loose with it. People have been loose with the OS words for a while, anyways. So that was about it. Oh yeah, powered by Red Bull, by the way, as usual. Got my little blue Red Bulls still. With the I got the purple lights though. Maybe I'll switch them to blue. I can switch the color of those. I don't think I've ever switched it during the stream. I'm not sure if I have. But it's blue Red Bull, so maybe let's switch the video to blue. There we go. More fitting with the Red Bull. I can see if I can get it with the light. Ah, that's pointless. Alright. Let's jump into it. So I've been doing some commits as usual. This is not the commits. That's not the commits either. This is a little demo of what it is. So here's where we are right now. We got our right-click menus. We can make new stuff. Can make new folders. We can select a bunch of stuff. We can open a folder here. Make this bigger. We can take those things and drag them in here. Drag one of them back. Drag the other one back. Right-click it and wait, did that rename? That's wrong. Interesting. That's some kind of bug I created there. Interesting. How did I... Because what is this? If I refresh, I bet it won't be there anymore. Yeah. So how did I make that happen? Oh man, all sorts of weird stuff's happening there. That also was wrong behavior. So there's some weird drag and dropness here. Watch, wait, maybe put them both here. That part works okay. But now if I drag this one... Okay, that worked. Ah, there we go. Okay, that's weird. Nice, let's find bugs right at the start. Okay, so for next stream, I'm going to figure out that thing. Dragging files, unexpected behavior on paste, let's say, /move. Maybe I'll just say move, but it's probably broken on paste too. I wouldn't be surprised. I do have copy and paste though, at least. Let's see here, right click, copy, and paste. Cool. And I think I have cut. Yeah, cut and paste. And it renames them automatically, so that's some neatness. This is just the file manager, by the way. This is one little piece of a bigger puzzle. I'm always building on this file manager. Today we're going to add a scroll bar, finally. Got the taskbar, looking as you'd expect, functioning as you'd expect for the most part. As are the folders. As is the start menu at this point, for the most part. Got the My Documents there. Oh, there's an error. I wonder if I fixed that. That says it came in start menu. Wow, today's just like find bugs during demo day. Oh well. I kind of like finding bugs. At least I'm catching them. So, opening documents caused console error. I don't even know exactly what that was all about. I'm not going to care about that at the moment because it didn't actually affect anything. But why was there a console error? Who knows? If I do it again, does it do the same thing? Oh yeah, this is just another bug. When documents is open, I can't click it to open it again. See, that time there was no console error, so whatever. We'll ignore that for the moment. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of these features are working. I think last episode we added TinyMCE, which is a Wysiwyg editor. The reason we did that is because we now have some blog posts. We have one of them. I haven't converted any other ones yet. That's one of my blog posts there, so I might have a shortcut on the desktop to one. As you see here, it can work in like a read-only mode, just like you'd see it on my website. Or if you click on this part here, as it says, click, well, You guys can't see the tooltip, but there's a tooltip when you hover that says click toolbar item to switch to design mode. I think I might make it gray or make it darker and put that text over top of it, because people aren't always going to see this tooltip. But when you click it, there you go. Now it's in edit mode, and now I can move the photo over here, can delete a bunch of the text. It's like you're editing a blog post, so that's kind of fun. But let me make yet another next stream note here of that idea. Tiny MCE. What is it we want? Show the click for design mode as overlay. There we go. I don't know where that quote is necessary. All right. At least we're getting a lot of good ideas for next episode. But let's keep focused on this episode. Another thing I'm going to do in the near future is not commit these. Currently, I put these in the repo like my blog posts, but I think I'm going to separate those from the project. And I'm just going to have, when you go to dustinbrett.com, that this version of my OS, when it runs, will have the documents. But if you get it from the repo, it's not going to have my blog posts and stuff. Not that I want to keep them secret. I just don't want to fill up GitHub with a bunch of that stuff because it's really not related to the code. What else I got? I got Flash files you can load here. You know, this one here, badger, mushroom. Oh, I missed when it was. It's always like 3 badgers more than I expect it to be. Anyways, that's some silly Flash thing, but any Flash animation you want, you could just drag onto here from your own desktop outside of the browser. You could just drag an SWF file into, like, let's say here or here, and it would work. We could even do a test here. Example SWF file. I don't know how easy it is to find one of these. Flash examples. Okay, Bumblebee, simple drawing. Cool. There's an SWF. So now if we go back here, we drag it on here. There it is. Now I double click it, and there's our Bumblebee. So you can read Flash files. Same thing for all sorts of different stuff. Also got for like JS-DOS games such as Doom. You can play that. We now have save support as well. So if you want to start playing this or something, and then you're like, oh, you know, I'm just going to save the game for another time, and then you just close it. Let's say you refresh, you come back another day, open up Doom again. Hey, you know, I wanted to play that Doom game. Just load it. There it is. And you're back to shooting or whatever the heck it is you were doing. So another cool one there. Or if you just want to do a little bit of operating systeming, you could be like, hey, you know, I want to run my Linux through my x86 emulator on my website. And you could just boot up Linux. And the cool thing with this is not only does it save the game file, it actually saves state. So if you see here, I'm clicking. Also, I'm connected to my real file system, kind of, my fake real file system, so I can go into the mount point and see it right there, and this associates with the desktop here. So if I go cd desktop, we won't be able to see the files that I've added dynamically, but we do see the 3 shortcuts, so this one, and this one. And I can even, what is it, cat or type? I always forget. Yeah, you can paste it there, so that's the contents of it right there. And now if I were to say, you know, I'm done with this Linux instance, okay, refresh, come back another day. Oh, I want to open up and be exactly at that point again. Boom. And I'm there. And I can still go back to Linux and then I can cat the other one there. There you go. So we have live save state as well. And you can even go in and delete that. So here's my saves right here that it created. There's the Doom one and there's the Linux one. And I could just say, oh, I want to delete this. And now when I open Linux, now it starts fresh again. So things are starting to come together, starting to connect. What other ones do I have? That's the bulk of the apps. Oh yeah, WebAmp too, which is Winamp. That's another big one. And it's also very fully functional. So let's say I go into documents and my skins. I got a WebAmp skins here. My favorite one was SpyAmp back in the day. You can play SpyAmp, you know, or this Aqua one. Make it look like a Mac OS or kind of old-fashioned one. Let's go back to SpyAmp and then let's go find some music here. I got my demo. Whip the llama's butt, as they say. You know, can have it locked to the top here. Oh, it has some kind of weird thing where I got stuck in the little scroll there when I was dragging. Anyways, that works. And you can, you know, add to it. Let's say you want to right-click here. I can press Add File, and it actually pops up a dialog. It doesn't show in the share, but it pops up a dialog, and I can pick a different song. Let's say I'll pick my 3 Doors Down song. Shows it right there, including reading the cover art from metadata and putting it as the icon. And I can double click that. It adds it right there. Boom. And now it just starts playing it just like so. I could close it from here, let's say. It doesn't save the skin currently for Winamp. I haven't got it saving that. Move this into this folder, let's say. Let's move it into my music folder here. Put it over here. There we go. And now double click it again and it just pops right open. It remembers where Winamp is, but like I say, it doesn't remember the skin because I'm not saving that right now. But maybe I should. That's probably another thing to add. Yeah, I'll probably do that actually. Let's make yet another note for next time to save Winamp skin selection. That's probably reasonable. I don't really think I have anything like a registry. I have the session, this session right here. And this episode, an app we're going to add that I've been waiting a long time to add is the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment. So what that means is that we're going to be able to open any file that currently doesn't have an ability to be opened and read the source contents of it. So this JSON here, if I double click it right now, it won't let me look at it. But we're going to fix that and we're going to have the first phase 1 of my IDE. Currently, I've just got the text editor part, but then I'm gonna add a status bar. I'm gonna add tabs so we can open multiple files, including the ability to select multiple files and go open, and having them both open. I'm gonna have to do some detecting and see if everything selected is file types that we can open in the editor. Then when you press open, allow it to open in the tabs. Otherwise, just open as one file. What other things am I gonna add? I might add a file explorer. I'm trying to remember what else there is. I got it all in the notes here, my post-its in the wall. Currently, the whiteboard part of the post-its, that's like the key stuff. That's the stuff I need for MVP, for the minimum viable product. Not that it's a product, but that's just slang for the first version I'm going to show people. And those are the ones I finished. Just coincidental that it happens to be a perfect amount at the moment. Perfect rectangle. Okay, I think that's enough demoings. That was a bigger demo than I usually do. Next up, let's go into the code. Let's see what we changed today, right? Let's see what we're going to change. Let's see what we did change throughout the week. So, surprise, surprise, the editor that we're going to use is Monaco Editor. And I've already got it a little bit in there. We're going to look for it here, Monaco Editor, and we're going to see that it is the same code editor that is used in Visual Studio Code, which is the editor we're literally using here. So this editor, it's basically going to look exactly the same, almost. I mean, not exactly. Maybe I will have it in the future. Like, currently it's just using I'm going to use the generic Visual Studio Darks theme, but I might switch to using the theme that I use during my streams. And, oh, there's breadcrumb bars, another piece I want to add. Also, once I have terminal, I am going to make a terminal app. And then once I have that app, I'm going to also be able to integrate it into the IDE and do this same kind of connection here. This status bar, I need to copy. And possibly this file explorer. I'm not sure if I will do that, to be honest. I can, but it could be useful if we're opening folders, I suppose. But it's a lot of... That seems like more work to me at the moment. The tabs should be super easy. I've actually seen an implementation of the tabs here that I got bookmarked. The multi-model editor. You see here, that's an example of it here. And these are just buttons to switch between the files, but you could imagine I can turn these into tabs that look just like the tabs here, like this tab up here. So I'm attempting to essentially copy this and replicate Visual Studio Code. But I'm going to call it the Monaco Editor because that's what this part of it's called. And that's what VS Code uses for the text piece. As you see here, it's pretty much the same. And one cool thing is it includes the right-click menus and the Control P. Oh, not Control P. What is it? What is the command palette? F1 in this. There we go. So now we have the command palette, which is part of VS Code, and now we realize it's actually part of Monaco. And the right-click menu here that looks like this. We have this, which is pretty cool. So that's really familiar, and it's going to make people... We also have the mini map here, this piece, the little mini version of the text. The scroll bars. So we're going to inherit a lot just by having this app. So we're pretty lucky there, I think. And the way that we're doing it is through something called Monaco Editor React, which is from somebody else, from some dude. What's his name here? Sir Shernat? Who knows? Something like that. But he's done some good work here. I'll give him some credit in that he's made it very simple. You can see there's an example of all that's necessary. Pretty simple. just a tag called editor. Here he set height and language and value. We don't even have to do that stuff. You'll see that the one I set up, language is actually auto-detected if you just give it the path name. And value is simple enough too. I'm actually going to switch this in the near future. It's kind of silly, but this is very V1. Maybe even this is beta 1 of Monaco Editor, because I've already decided that I'm going to do it. I'm going to recode this. The version I'm going to show you guys today is not the version I'm going to have long term. I'm going to change the index to be use Monaco. It's going to be a minor difference, but the reasoning behind that is that if you see my other apps like JS-DOS and Ruffle and V86, their index is just this basic thing, which is this container component idea. The idea being that the meat and potatoes of the app, of the library that's making this app, is usually something else that is just going, give me a container, give me a div, and I'll do the rest. So Monaco is actually no different than that, but the way that I originally wrote it was based off of that example, as you guys saw, which was, this is not a give me a component. This is a I am a component. This is a I am an element / component. So what I really wanted was more of like a hook format. And they have an example of it here, but I'm going to do it off screen and then show you guys for next week this other version. Where is it here? There's some other way to do it. Is it like loader dot, was it create? Create. Yeah, there it is. Here we go. What's this called? Create your own editor. So long term, I'm going to do this create your own editor. I'm debating doing it now, honestly, because I already actually half wrote it, but then I made it. No, because I actually did it earlier and I made some mistakes and it wasn't working. So I don't want to get back in that hole again during this video. Let's just do the working way. And in the next episode, I'll show you guys the other way. So here's another cool thing too, is that it's a little weird. I guess it's cool and weird, but it's not intuitive to me that there's an editor and a diff editor. So the ability to show a diff requires basically an entire different editor. My logic there would be that this shouldn't be necessary. I would feel like can't there just be like a button that just like pops up another one right beside it? But component wise, they've decided to split it into two, as far as I can see. Anyways, we're definitely going to have this feature long term. Because I love this diffing feature in general. I use it all the time in VS Code. So I want to have it in my IDE as well. I think it'd be, yeah, we can definitely do it. But it's going to be similar to this tab example that we saw here, where we're clicking and we're flipping through things. I might have another button up here, let's say, that's like compare the two, and then instead of just switching the file, which is all that this is actually doing, it just changes which file is being referenced, and then just updates the editor component. There would be another button here that literally changes the editor to the diff editor and loads those two files, separate from the tab concept, I think. But still conceptually easy enough, and it's clear how to do it. So I'm excited for that. But let me just adjust myself here. That's a long-term thing. I've got quite a few notes from Monaco Editor, and I really like the idea of making an IDE in general. I mean, I know I'm making it in quotes. I'm always doing quotes, but I'm saying making it at the same time. I'm just putting pieces together. It's like a kid putting Lego together and saying I made a car. I mean, it's not quite the same though, because you can use my thing as an IDE, whereas you can't use the kid's car, Lego car, as a real car. But the point being is that I had help along the way. Obviously, I'm not doing any of the work for Monaco. I'm using examples like this. Like, I'm still making the tabs, I guess, but now I have examples here from people that are like, oh, okay, this is how to do this part. So I just have to do CSS basically for this piece. So, we're always building off the backs of other people, I guess, is my point there. If you could even say I had a point. So let's look through these files, because I'm thinking what I might do. I don't have too many commits, so let's just go through these all, actually. I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing lately, though, is I'm going to convert these to patches. Oh, no, what's GitHub doing? There we go. Sometimes loading patch is a little slow. Obviously, it must be doing it dynamically, you'd think. Okay, so we've saved the patch. Now we're going to jump to the editor, to the IDE, the real one for now. And we're going to say git apply, get the path, which is something like this with what the heck is the name of the thing? What happened here? Oh, this is weird. Seems like my browser didn't save it or something. Maybe because I closed it when it wasn't done saving. Pause, resume. Huh. Okay, let's try that again. Cancel this. That's weird. It like, I fully saw it at one point. This would be unfortunate if these patches don't work. There we go. Okay, so once again, I see the patch. I feel like pressing save actually requests it again from the server, and that's part of the problem because it's once again slow. You see starting. It's okay, there we go. Whatever. So now I'll close it. That was a big patch file. That was the problem there. Switch back to the code here, and now I can see the file. That's what it's named. Now we apply the patch. Oh no, what happened? Squelched. Wow, I've never seen a warning say it squelched something before. Let's look that up. Is that the correct usage of that? I feel like it must be. Squelched. Make a soft sucking sound. Probably not that. Forcefully suppress. Okay, that's probably more likely. Forcefully suppress 1025 whitespace errors. Well, I didn't make the damn patch. Anyways. Okay, so yeah, massive patch. It's a good thing we patched it here. Basically what this is, as far as a good chunk of this, anything here that says libs Monaco was me directly downloading the Monaco library file. Now, I wish I had a perfect memory as to where the heck I got that. I think it was here. I think it was just this, actually. Like, literally just Monaco Editor, and then click download link. Let me see. It made a 14 megabyte TZ file that my computer's decided to sit on saving. This 1414 thing means it's just being silly. There we go. Now it's saved. It took way longer to save than it did to download, which is unfortunate. I'm just going to quickly open this in the background, and I'll just tell you guys if it's this file. Package dev vs. Yeah. So it's in like package dev vs. That entire folder, basically, I just copied, but selectively. I made sure that every file I've taken here is necessary in a way. Let's take a peek at the folder structure just so I can show you it. Because in that little list there, it's not as dynamic looking. So libs, Monaco. So yeah, in the VS folder, which is the way they name it here, we got this base browser. I've just kept the icon font because they use that. That's a dependency. I wanted to keep everything local. When you first get this Monaco React thing, it actually doesn't require you to... it uses a CDN to get the files. And that's good, I guess, but it's not my thing. From all of my apps, I make sure that I have all the dependencies. Just like installing an app on your computer, you don't need the internet to use my app. I mean, you need the internet to access my website, and the requests need to use the internet to go to my website to get the files. But in the future, I'm going to have a PWA, like a progressive web app that you could install, and I'm going to have it can download everything. So I don't know how big the app will be. Let's say it could be 200 megabytes, or something. But it'll have everything, it'll have an x86 emulator, an IDE. It'll be like an OS, hopefully. Anyways, it's got this worker that's necessary. The languages, I just kept them all for now, but some of these realistically I don't really give a damn about, so I'm not sure if I'll keep them all. I think it's light enough. I'm not sure how much that adds up. I think it's like, let me see how big all this is. Maybe 10 megabytes. I don't remember. The whole zip file was only 14, so. These basic editor files I needed. There were some other language files in here I didn't need, like translations. And then here's some base languages that aren't part of the basic languages. I think, I don't know what the difference between basic languages and languages, but because there's even a CSS one in here. It seemed like both were necessary anyway, so I kept them both. And then the loader is also necessary. So that was it for the libs. That's a good chunk of these files here. Almost everything here, honestly. As far as in the constants, I've added this concept of the default file viewer that I'm going to use as an option for just like anything where it's like, I don't know what to put this on or how to play this. It'll just use the default file viewer. I don't know how to run it. I don't know how to open it, that kind of thing. What else we got here? Icons. I made the icons. I took those from some icon that was like right in the source code or something like that. I had to make the entry in the directory processes pointing to the icon. This background color matches the background color of Monaco. Oh, the way I figured that out was just loading the thing and then seeing what the background color was and then coming in here and changing it. It's not like, I don't know if it's documented somewhere, but I just did it the old school way. And then pointing at the component and giving it a title. Now going into functions here, what do we got? What is this? This is in regards to file functions. So I've modified the... Let me make this a little smaller so we see the change more easily. Right, yeah, so just in the get icon by file extension. So this will show the Monaco icon as which is the default file viewer. It'll show whatever the default file viewer's icon is for files that it can handle. Which I guess would be most here. I'm wondering if this condition can even occur now. Because this would always exist. So, but this could be wrong, I guess. This could not have an icon. So we could have a process, but no icon. And then it would show as an unknown icon, but that would be confusing, actually. Wouldn't it? Because if it showed as an unknown icon, you wouldn't think it could have anything to run it. But why would a process not even have an icon? That's like, this wouldn't happen. Yeah, I think there's an issue here. This default file viewer logic probably isn't ideal for certain files, like binary files. Like if someone put a .exe, I don't think there's any value in looking at that in VS Code. Let me make another to-do. No default file viewer for binary files. So for binary files, we will use that unknown extension until we have something that can load whatever the binary files are. As far as how to know what they are, I might do it the other way, and I might just have default file viewer only load for certain extensions. I mean, maybe that makes more sense, honestly. Maybe I'll do that. Let's just say only use Monaco default, only use Monaco for supported languages. So any of those languages I copied in basic language, whatever their associated file extensions are, which I'll figure out somehow. Because Monaco has some way of detecting based on the path what language to use, so I'll try to use that logic to actually limit this a little bit. Because sometimes it should show an unknown icon. For now, we'll leave this as is. It's a little sloppy right now, but I got a note to fix it. Same logic here for the process itself. If no process is found before it returned nothing, now it's always opening any file in the default file viewer. So like I said, that's a short-term solution. Extensions, I've done the same thing. I've added that this is a neat idea just in general. For certain files, like the TinyMCE format, I also can let you open that in the edit IDE because it's just an HTML document. So here I allow 2 options, and this one I might put in other ones. There wasn't really any good ones here though. Like all these are binaries otherwise. Yeah, none of these other ones would be of any use, I don't think, to see in the file editor. Then we have styled Monaco here. And there's a few commits that we're going to do along the way to kind of tweak this. So this will continue to evolve. But the styled Monaco was pretty simple enough. Just the same height that I've been using in all of them. And I have a note to get rid of this boilerplate that I seem to have added to a lot of components. Yeah, I got it in three of them here. Where I'm saying I want the full height minus the taskbar height. But the taskbar height is part of the window. And I don't feel like the app should need to know about that. So it is something I want to change, but for now I need to specify this still. Just because of the way I set up the containers. I just don't want to... It's not like... Every time I do something, it's not like, oh, I don't know how to do it the other way. It's like, I'm dealing with other things, you know? I'm pretty sure I know exactly how to fix that, but I don't know the line. I don't know exactly which letters to change. And figuring that out takes time. And I have a bunch of other things over there that are more fun. So for now, I'm just going to do this. And then width 100%. That's like the most generic one for these container ones. What's next? So the index, I think I might skip this for a second. This is that thing that I said I'm going to change to a hook next week. This is basically just all that's required to load it. As you can see, there's very little here. But before we get there, I wanted to show you this functions one. So this is just a catch well, maybe I should explain this after I demo it. No, I'll explain it now. But let me go to the browser here to show you the explanation. So you see when I right click here and then I hover over peek, how there's this submenu. Oh, you can barely see it because of my video share. Let me try that again. Right click, peek. Now you see these two submenu items. So basically, for whatever reason, maybe it's because I'm doing transforms and stuff. That second submenu, which is actually a separate div outside of its parent, that was getting misaligned. And it's not super easy to fix that one because it was inside the shadow DOM, a shadow root. So the way I had to do that in the end was that whenever you blurred off the editor, so right-clicking basically would pop up that submenu, and that submenu would take focus, and the focus would make it blur off of the main window. So I triggered that when that occurs, that it would run this function called override submenu stylings. And what it would do is it would check the target to make sure that why it got blurred was because of the right thing. So when you focused off of the Monaco editor, the related target is the thing you focused on. Checks if it's an HTML element. Checks if its class is just this, has been set as shadow root host, which is the one I know as that I wanted. And then it checks here to make sure that that related target has a shadow root, which is it's like a completely separate context that you can't style from the outside. That I don't know how to style. If someone can figure out how to do this, it'd be great. But I've tried a bunch of different techniques. There's a bunch of different selectors you can use. Some of them deprecated. And none of them worked for me. In the end, the only way I could figure out how to do it was directly targeting the shadow root and injecting a styled element inside it. Anyways, it worked. So, and these kind of fixes in the short term I actually enjoy because they make me feel like, you know, whatever bug or weirdness happens, you can figure out a way around it. You know, with JavaScript, the way things are nowadays, it's like, even inside a library, I can just check and like, okay, well, one step before the error happens, I'm going to run JavaScript that goes in and actually removes this and tweaks this and it moves all these things around, whatever necessary alignment I need to do to keep the tower of cards up, basically. But programming allows you to do that, you know, to keep it all balanced. But as long as you don't update any dependencies or anything, and that's when everything really breaks. Anyways. So when all these things occur, oh, and this fourth one here is to make sure that it only does it once. So that it says it doesn't include the submenu override styling. Otherwise, every time you blur off, every time you go to the submenu, it was adding another one and another one. This isn't super efficient. I think I end up fixing this when I go to the use Monaco hook and I start doing add event listener instead. But we'll get to that later. And finally is the styling itself. Yeah, I make a style element. I give it that ID so that I can check for it later. And then in the content of the styled element, I just select the submenu item and I say left 100%, position absolute, and inherit the top. And believe it or not, for whatever reason, that is the fix for that weird submenu offset issue. So, and then I append it to the shadow root. Long story short, this fixes submenus being broken. I'll try to show you as an example when it's broken. And then in package.json, I have the Monaco Editor dependency, and that's it. So let's go into this index and just see the last file here. Let's ignore the imports. They don't matter, honestly. You don't need to know what these are, just that I use them here. So if you see something and it's not defined here, then it's an import, and we'll discuss it. So let's not worry about that. Here's the Monaco Editor component. We get the URL. This little piece of boilerplate is removed when I move it to a use Monaco hook. We won't need this piece anymore, the use processes part. We get the file system. We get the append file to title so that we can have it be like Monaco Editor dash whatever file you opened is name. And then the value we're keeping here as a state. I'm not sure if that, yeah, I guess that's necessary right now. When I switch to using a hook, I won't need to do that. Because basically I load the file here and set the value, and then I use the value here. So I just needed I needed this state to do this intermediary. When it's loaded here, use it here. But in the future, I won't use this editor component of theirs. I'll make my own one. But anyways, it's simple enough. Let's skip the hook for a second here. Sorry, the use effect. It is a hook, but let's just discuss this one piece. So first off, I do this loader config. I'm not doing this in a hook. You can just do this whenever. I think I could probably even have done it out here. Maybe not. But I'm happy to do it here. Basically, when this editor tries to load, That's when I want loader.config to update this to the config path that's my config path. This is the piece that's needed to properly load it locally instead of having it try to go to that provided CDN link. And then I wrap it in that styled Monaco with the onBlur event that I discussed with you guys and girls and such. And then in editor, you specify path. This allows the auto language detection by the URL. But otherwise, it's not necessary because the value is actually what the real file is. So it's not like passing the file name here is loading the file. This value is loaded the file via that use effect hook that we'll get into. And then for theme, I set dark and values value. So where does value come from? It comes from the effect that's loaded. So this happens as soon as the component's loaded. It reads the file from the file system. And if there's no error, then it loads the value. And then it updates the title of the window to say that this is the file that's currently loaded. That is a very long way of explaining it. Now let's check it out. Oh, which error? Okay, let's kill the running dev environment here and start a new one. There we go. Oh wait, do we? Still seems a bit mad. What's it saying here? Module not found. Ah, yes. Right. So I need to do a yarn install to get the latest one. So I updated the package JSON via my patch command, but that didn't download the node module dependency that I needed. So it didn't actually have what was necessary to load Monaco. Now it does. Cool. So as you can see, these documents that I'd made already from last time were still in there. Let's just refresh this back to defaults. And then now we'll go in and we'll find that document. So here's session, double click it, double click, and there's Monaco Editor. Cool. So this is the basic version. Throughout this episode tonight, we'll do a few tweaks to it. We're going to tweak the loading screen. We're going to tweak the height and width and a tiny bit of the code. But for the most part, this is the basics of it. So as you see, we have this right-click menu here. The submenu thing I can't show you on this example. Let's open up a JavaScript file and then we can see it. Where is it here? Libs, ruffle.js. Here we go. So for ruffle.js, if I right-click and go peek, you see here how that's perfectly aligned now. That's nice. But when I started, before I had this blur thing here, let's get rid of that blur function that I made and save it here. And now if we right-click and go peek, oh wait, let me refresh because it already had the styling from the first time that I clicked it. Libs, ruffle. Now when I open it, now watch again here. Right-click, peek. Yeah, you see, it's way over here. That's not right. So that's why we need this. Once we have this, now the next time I open it, it should work. There we go, because it applied the correct styling that I wanted, the override. So that's cool. As you can see, oh man, what happened there? Well, it froze a little bit on me. I think because that's a really big minified file. That's the risky take. I'm going to have some source codes and stuff in here. Eventually, I'm going to integrate in with Git. So in my website, you're going to be able to literally run a Git command that can download a repo into the website that you can open via the IDE. It'll work. It'll work. How am I going to do it? Just in case you're wondering, I'm going to use something called isomorphic Git, which is a pure JavaScript implementation of Git for Node and browsers. So I've tested this, and this literally does work. And you can even pass it for FS. I can pass it my browser FS instance. So it'll actually, I can run a command, and then this folder just populates with all the Git files. And Git actually works via WebSockets, I believe. So it doesn't even have any permission issues. It'll work, I think. Let me just confirm that too. WS, isn't it WebSockets? Well, there's some reasoning behind why it works that I thought was WebSockets related. Is it? No, I'm not sure. I think this dude put in a lot of work to get this working. Did he get it working with GitHub in the end? I'm almost certain he did. I seem to remember somewhere in here he like talks about the work that he did to get it going. And it's appreciated. FAQ. Yeah, I'm not sure on the protocol that is used, because how did it work? I'm losing confidence in that it worked because I'm not finding it in the documentation. Well, we're not there yet anyways. So let's not worry too much about it. But I'm pretty sure it works the way that I explained. My confusion is how... this is a cores thing. This is cores we're talking about, I think, here. Yes. Right. He has a cores proxy that he allows people to use. But at the same time, core support, unfortunately due to the same origin policy, by default, isomorphic it can only clone from the same origin as the web page it's running on. Right. But the proxy. For testing or small projects. Okay, I got a small project. There we go, the end. So when I become big, I'll have money, and then it won't be a big deal. At one point, I can make my own proxy, too. It's the same problem I actually have with this other app, the V86 app. And like, let's say I want to run this Calibri OS. This OS actually has networking support, but currently the WebSocket server that I'm using is not working for whatever reason, or blocked me. I don't know which it is. So at some point you see when this boots up, there'll be a console error, and it'll say that the the WebSocket server is not working. Well, actually, it doesn't say that at the moment. Well, I was having this issue earlier. But maybe it's been resolved. That would be nice. What kind of networking stuff can we do to test this theory? What if we open up IRC and get all leet? Let's connect to Freenode, sure. Can I connect? How easy is it? Oh man, it's working. Oh wait, is it? You must use TLS to authenticate. Okay, that was a bad example then. Do you have any other servers? Let's look this up. What is it, Dalnet? It's called Dalnet. I remember I used to use Dalnet. Oops. Let's try this again. I think it's /join /join irc.dalnet. Or is it dal.net? You are not connected. Yeah, no shit, I'm trying to. /connect irc.dal.net. Oh, I forgot what how IRC commands are. Help. Yeah, sure. Help. Wait, am I? No, I'm not connected. So why is it talking about server? irc.dal.net. Now we're cooking with gas. What's it doing? Come on. Well, I'm not getting the console errors about the WebSockets. Let's take a peek at the WebSockets, right? We can just see. It should be somewhere here. Here it is here. Messages. Oh, something's going on. Yeah. Well, let's test that with something not as useless as this IRC connection. There's some browser in here, I think, too. Maybe we can just do ping, though. Does ping work? This guy got ping. Oh. There's some wonky lag typing into this thing, unfortunately. P-I-N-G. 8.8.8.8. Used to ping that one. No, there's no ping command? Oh. Well, it looks like the WebSocket's working again, so that's great. But at the same time, should it be so hard to test? What else we got? Network clients. Ping. Okay, you got a program for ping? Whatever. And please enter the IP address. 8.8. Oh my gosh, is this slow? Come on, ping. Timeout. Okay, so the WebSocket's not working, but it's not giving me a console error anymore. Oh, some of those worked. Okay, nice. All right. Don't need this one anymore. This one was, what does that say? WebSocket con is dead and timeout persists after destroy. Right, that's actually a secondary problem, is that when I close V86, I don't think the WebSocket connection is properly ending, as you can see here. But darned if I know how to end it. Maybe I should keep the error there as the other part of it, but the WebSocket connection. Although, is it being used anymore? Before I kept complaining. Let me clear this and see, is anything happening on it? No, not really. Okay, cool. So that's fixed for now. So he's fixed the proxy. In all honesty, I just took it from the people who actually made this app, which is the V86 guy. He hasn't updated it in a while. Hopefully he's all right. Anyways, there was quite the rabbit hole. I don't even know where that came from. That was in regards to Git, I guess, and opening source files. Anyways, so that works. let's move on. I think I've explained Monaco completely. What's this Docker file? That's completely pointless. I don't need that. Oh. Oh, that's literally for how to interpret Docker files. Okay, that's fair. I'll keep that. Yeah, some of these languages I don't want, so I'll delete some of them down the road. I just have no idea what they are. ABAP. I don't know what that is. Anyways, let's do this first commit. Actually, before we do that commit, maybe let's see what other changes I had. Because I changed Monaco like 4 more times. Maybe we just change it a bunch in one commit. So what's the next piece I did here? I added a startup shortcut. That's fair. Let's just do that ourselves. Not startup shortcut, sorry, start menu. So public, start, and we're just going to make a new file called monacoeditor.url. And I'll paste the content in there. It's an internet shortcut with the base URL being the app, which is called Monaco Editor, and the icon file being the one that we all know and love. And then I have to run yarn build fs to get to update the JSON files so that we can also see the icon here. And now there it is. Now when I click it, it'll open up an empty version of Monaco Editor. Next thing we can add before we commit the Monaco Editor is, let me close these things. No. Let's just, yeah, we're just going to jump to the Monaco Editor things and then we'll move on to these other commits. So what's this? Bigger window. Right, I made the window a little bigger by default. I think that makes more sense for the size of the darn thing. So that goes right here. I decided 400 by 400. And we can quickly take a peek at it just to see. Let's clear a cache there. Click it. There you go. That's a nicer size. That does not look like 400 by 400 to me. Is that a square to anyone? I question that. Well, it's easy enough to test, right? Let's dig a tiny bit deeper. What the heck? Oh, is this the way they decided to split it up? Whatever. Ugh. I just want to see what the size of the darn thing is. Okay, well that's fair. 400 by 430 and this bar's 30. Okay. Doesn't look like a square to me, but if you say so, computer, I will trust you implicitly with my life. Okay, what's next here? Fix styling for loading. Yes. So as you saw there when I loaded, let me refresh here. When you first load, in the middle, it will say loading, but in like black, so you can almost not even see it. Right there. Yeah, it was just a second. We're going to switch that. I'm actually going to switch it in 2 ways. Before I only switched it in 1 way, I think in the commit. But I'm actually going to add a busy cursor because that's something I wanted to add. Let's see the change. It's very simple. We'll just do copy and paste again on this one as well. So let's switch to the code here. Yeah, we're at the code. And then what did I have here? Right, we need to get to the index. Paste this in here. Okay, so yeah, we're going to use the colors, text color, which is white, and we're going to control this ourselves. We could probably do this a lot easier way, though, to be honest. Depends where that loading is coming from. I'm just thinking maybe I just style it instead. Like, let me switch over to sources here. No, wait, is it sources or application? Where's the one where I can pause? Sources, yeah. And now open Monaco and then press, is it F8? What key is pause? F8. Okay, so open Monaco, F8. Oh. Status access violation. Okay, so you're pretty much not allowed to pause when it's in the middle of loading like that. Okay, yeah, the loading thing went away though, so that's not going to help me. Let's just stick to the way I did it before, honestly. Although I don't want to now. Now I'm not happy with the way I did it before. But how do I pause this darn thing? Oh, yeah, we cannot pause during that loading text. It's just not like that. Send feedback. Yeah, go beep yourself. Okay, so then... It's hard to select the loading text when I don't know what the heck it is. That's the problem. But is there a solution to that? Probably. Let's try this. React Monaco, and then we go to its GitHub, and then we search for the word loading. And we just, okay, maybe that's it there. Somewhere here is like loading ... you'd assume. ... We're close. There's the text. Oh no, that's where you can replace the node. That's what I had done. Here we go though. Oh wait, here you can just replace the text too, or what the heck? Darn it, I want to find where it exists. Oh, okay, wait, here we go. We can just use these snap files to see. Is it it's not lowercase, is it? I don't think it was. I don't want a lowercase loading anyways. Let me just double check that. Okay, no, it's capitalized. The font looked wrong too, though, to be honest. Well, it's right just in the main div here. Yeah, this is pretty much how it looks. Well, I mean, it's easy enough to just go here and say color is white. Or actually, we just use that color text that I had used here. Yeah, it's just text. It's simple enough. Get it from the theme here. Colors.text. There we go. I mean, if that's enough, that might be enough for now. Let's just check. Okay. Honestly, that's fine. I'm not sure why I wanted to do more. Maybe in the future I will. But the thing is, yeah, I don't think it's necessary. That'd just be overkill. Ah, darn it. Did I change more than I wanted to there? No, that's about right. And here I just added color. Yeah, that's good enough for loading. Wait, does that affect anything else long term? Let me check. Does that mess with, should that be white? What if we open something that should be multiple colors? Okay, it's still colored. And was there a loading thing? I didn't notice. Let's check. Okay. Yeah, let's just keep it like that. And forget about that silly solution I had that was more than necessary. Yeah, I basically just made a component to do... Yeah, it's pointless. I don't know why I did that. So we dealt with these. Those will come back to. These we dealt with. Clean via scripts. Is that a Monaco thing? Nope. I might not even do that. No. Refactored Monaco. Okay, what did I do here? Oh yeah, I ended up just changing this to a more simple command. We'll do that. But yeah, what did I change? I just changed that one piece. Okay, let's jump to that and just take a peek at it because it's simple enough. So just for the function here, basically I'll paste these two side by side. It was just this piece that changed, not the condition. But basically, let's just take this piece that I'm saying was changed. So before it looked like that, where I got to create the document, the element, give it an ID, give it text content, and then append it. I've just said append the element, and then I create it and assign the other pieces directly, just to turn it into a one-liner, and at the same time it felt a little more succinct. It really isn't, honestly. But I don't think it's complicated. It's like append this element. Okay. I don't really like doing this style anyways. I'd rather be able to do JSX here. But can I? I don't think it's that easy. So let's not mess with that. Or can I? It's a good question. Make a note about that here for this append child. Or no, for create element, I guess, here. Can I use JSX instead of document.createElement? I think the answer to that is it depends, but I wonder if there's any cases where I could have been doing it that I'm not. That's kind of what I'm more interested in. Here's another cleanup Monaco. What did I do here? What was messy? Oh yes, I defined this type for editor. Oh yeah, there was no cleaning up. So all I did here, just to add to it, is let's do this step by step here. So let's get that. Here's that cleanup globals now that I've added. So let's go back to that one commit. Maybe now it's time to. At some point, it's time to commit Monaco. I think we're very close to that. Yeah, this is getting into the cleanup part, though. We could add that as another piece. Custom scrolling, add busy cursor, RTF, allow sync, MCE, blur. Okay. I think we've done pretty much everything with Monaco for like a beta v1. We'll add the cleanup as another commit once we do this global export thing. So let's commit what we got. I think I'm happy with Monaco now. It works. Let's do our first commit. So created Monaco Editor IDE. There we go. And we'll commit that first one. Boom. So there's the first big commit for Monaco. And now let's follow up with it and do those other little pieces. So first we need to export the global cleanup function so that we can use it to clean up Monaco as well. That's simple enough by doing these two. Let's just do another patch, just because I don't want to make a mistake with it. I'm more confident in my patches than my typing, which is probably reasonable, I'd say. Git apply c.users.dustin, and a dot slashes. There we go. Let's take a look at the differences. So it used to be in the DOS CI because I was doing some global deleting there, and I called it the cleanup loader. I was running it here and not passing it any globals. Now I pass it some globals that I've defined, the same ones that were being used here. Now I allow that to be passed in here. So now I have a function that's called cleanup globals where you pass in globals. Otherwise, it does the same thing. It just deletes these window object things. Sometimes they get in the way. Actually, with Monaco, there is some other problems that I've noticed. After you run Monaco, you can't run the JS DOS. You have to refresh. So that, I think there's some window bleed or something going on there that I have to fix. I've got a note about it on the board. But that's the gist of this one, just moving that. So let's copy one last little piece to that. Let's copy the way I worded the commit name because it's simple enough. Oh man, where'd my stream notes go? Oh, that's not it. Where are my stream notes? There they are. Right, so Monaco Editor, that was one of the ones I was going to do. I just did that. I've made these other notes. What I wanted to do was add this one here, export a global cleanup function. There we go. That's the first little refactor we've done today. Now that we've exported the global cleanup function, we can do the cleanup Monaco piece. I'm going to copy and paste these because Monaco looks a little different now because I didn't use that loading thing. First thing we're going to do is add this package file. So we need the actual Monaco editor, but we just need it in our dev dependencies to get the typing correct. So I'm going to do yarn add -- save. Wait, is it -- save dev? I think it is. No, now I'm questioning it. Maybe it's just -- dev actually. Oh, I'm not used to having my microphone an inch from my face. Hopefully you didn't get too much. I don't know if my pop filter, if I had a pop filter, if that would have helped. Okay, Monaco editor's been added. So now it's in the dev dependencies. So it's not going to be part of my repo or nothing, or the build. I mean, sorry. It is part of the repo, but not part of the build. That's this and this piece. So all that was left is editing the editor file. So we're going to import the type that we're going to need for the editor. And the reason we need the editor is that it gives us access to the dispose function that Monaco gives us. I'll just put this in here. It's going to complain about the import sorting, but at the same time, the importing, it's not yet using this. So I need to, one step at a time, in other words. Let's import. We made a custom type here. After doing some looking, they never exported this exact name type, but the type was just this type when you actually go in and look at it. I'm going to go capital Monaco here. in my export. So Monaco.editor.is standalone code editor. I'm just going to call it is standalone code editor. I wonder if you can do destructing assignment. No, you can't with types. Not that we even need to, but that's just I'm using this twice. Whatever. Right, we need to clean up global function. I'm just going to paste that in right now. And so the first thing here is the state we need. We need the editor state. So I pasted in that global function there. Paste in the editor state. So we're going to have an editor and we set it. It's going to be based on this. And when are we going to need to use it? Here. As the destroy function. So this is the loading function, and then when everything's done, if the editor exists, then it's going to do editor.getModel. Yeah, editor will exist because we just checked it here. But getModel might not get the model, so we still keep this as protected, or as optional, sorry. So this is just a pattern I noticed. It doesn't even recommend this necessarily. I saw it just say dispose. But I think dispose does not do this get model dispose. The get model dispose happens after 5 minutes of idle, of no models being used, I've heard. But I just do that right at the start. I manually just say, hey, no, we're cleaning everything up. And then I'm cleaning up this one global variable called Monaco. I want to clean up more of them, though, because this alone wasn't enough to fix the JS-DOS issue. So we'll probably get back to that at some point. So that's the destroy function as well. And last but not least, we need the editor still. Now, where do we get it? We get it from this onMount function. Loading we're not using. These three don't change. So yeah, we're just adding onMount to the editor here. So there we go. OnMount. We got the mounted editor. Now it's saying implicitly has any type. That is incorrect. That's just VS Code being silly. We might have to close and open VS Code. Let's just do that. I feel like every episode I got to open and close VS Code to fix it. There's some way to refresh those little pieces, but I never know what the exact way is. Oh, now I'm running PowerShell all of a sudden? What the heck? That's not what I wanted, but whatever. So now when we hover over this, it knows what this is. There we go. Now it knows that it's a standalone editor. And do I need this? Good, I don't need that. I didn't think I ever needed that, honestly. Oh, wait. Hey, there we go. Yeah, it's much better as a one-liner, too. Let's just check those changes. So yeah, now on mount, we set the editor, and then when we dispose here, if the editor was set, we dispose of the models, we dispose of the editor, and we clean up the globals. That is cleaning up Monaco better. So clean up Monaco a bit. The a bit being the JS-DOS reference, as I said. Otherwise, that looks good. Let's just quickly test it and make sure Monaco's not broken now. Something broken. Clean all this stuff I had going on. All right, so let's open Monaco. Oh, my ear's killing me. Here we go. Opens fine. And when I close it, no console errors. Can I open it again? Close it again? All right, cool. Works for me. Clean up Monaco a bit. Oh, whoa, we got 4 of them now. That's those div editors. Okay, add this to our notes. Clean up Monaco a bit. Maybe we'll add it to this note instead. Oh, not 4 spaces. Come on, what world are we living in here? 2 spaces. There we go. Okay, so I think that covers us for the Monaco stuff. Let's start at the top again and skip the stuff we've done. We did these 2. So next up was browser list. Right, this was a nice one for me. So if you guys remember a previous episode in the package file, I had added browser list. Where did I add it? Right here, browser list. And I had my own rules for it. But I think I've kind of noticed that that's not really working for what I thought it was going to be working for getting rid of polyfills that I don't care about. I'm going to keep it in here, though, because I think there is some use cases for having it here. And some people, at least people can look at it here for reference. But what I found out is that you can also add it as a preset, which is what I've done here. Yeah, I just changed the presets in the Babel config. So for the Babel config, Currently, it just says the preset is next Babel. And what I've changed it to is I've just customized the next Babel to say the environment target browsers is the exact same string that I'm using in the package file here. Same one. And let's undo that for a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a yarn build. And I'm just going to show you the difference here. Basically what this does, by saying that build string that I target these certain browsers, Babel knows not to include polyfills for browsers that I don't care about, basically. Whereas before it wasn't doing that. So there was some IE browser polyfills being included, maybe not necessarily loaded, although there would at least be one HTML tag being loaded, possibly, in case to detect IE, to load the polyfill. But even that piece I didn't care for. So this gets rid of even that. Oops, sorry, I made this. I made some Red Bull noise there. Hope I have enough water. This is a slow build, unfortunately. It's a slow build up, I should say. Quite the repetitive message I get here too. Okay, so let's see here. So if we look at the base first load, we got 208 kilobytes and 188, 188. So if we remember those numbers and then we redo this change of presets, now when we do another build, ideally that number will be smaller by some small little piece. And while it's doing the build, I'm just going to copy that name again. Use browser list string for Babel build. Babel build. That's a weird name. We'll paste that in the commit message. We're going to paste that here in the refactors and system changes. And then just for good measure, we're actually going to make sure it did something. So we're going to wait a second. As you can see here by this little red icon at the bottom, I've disabled Copilot. It's annoying a lot of times. It's actually not disabled on every file now that I think about it. But for markdown files, it really never added any value. Okay, so now as we see now it's 200, 181, and 182. So that's an improvement. That's like 8 kilobytes. That's something. And now it's less compatible with browsers that it was never compatible with in the first place. Now let's commit that and move on to the next one. Cleaner use of pointer move. What's that one mean exactly? I think that I was using this here so that before it wasn't clearing the pointer. Where was this here? Let's just apply this patch. Actually, I can just copy this file. It's just one file. Use double click. Let's just go to use double click and see what have I done. What have I done this time, Dustin? I'm going to close all this stuff around me. So I've set the move count to start at 0. That probably makes more sense. And then it checks here if the count is greater than or equal to the maximum amount of moves, which is 5. Then we clear the timer. And the timer being the second click. So when you do the first click, a timer begins. And if you do a second click within a certain amount of time, it's considered a double click. But if you move the mouse 5 times, or 5 pixels in any direction, basically, or even just 3 pixels in one direction and then 2 pixels back, that's too many movements in my opinion. And I'm no... Wait a minute, is it? Actually, 3 up and 2 down, you're back where you started, and then it seems like a valid double click to me. Yeah, there's still some fixing to do with this. The real issue was, like, you could do click and then move away a bunch and then click again, and that was counting. Windows doesn't allow that. This was just my fix to stop that. But I like the idea of someone moving and then coming back. Although at the same time, what if they go like, woof, woof? I don't want that, you know? Click, click. That shouldn't count as a double click. It's like boom, boom. So I think that's fair. Anyways, 5 movements of any kind of mouse movement triggers this count. If you do 5 of them, I'm invalidating your double click. And the improvement that I've done to that, other than starting at 0 and doing the equals so that we never get to 6 with this number, I also do a check here now. All right, so before it was removing the listener, but now it's not. Why is that? What have I improved here? Let's see. Before it was like clear when pointer moved. So The pointer moves. We check if it's the max and we clear it. And before that, we were also ending the listener. Now we don't do that. Now we keep the listener so that another mouse movement occurs. And this would trigger again? No. Okay, wait. So then on the 5th one, this equals 5. It clears the timer. Now this will be undefined. So now this will happen and this will happen. Okay. So I just went whenever the timer is undefined. Right. Because this is whenever a clear timer happens. So that's to fix it if you do a double click and then you move the mouse. It would come here, and before it was only checking the moves and it wouldn't cancel the timer. So you'd have to move the mouse 5 times after you've already done your double click just to end this timer. Now that's not the case. Now it clears it. Now whenever clearing occurs and it gets here, it's going to go, hey, you cleared the timer. I'm going to remove that listener and then set the count back to 0. Otherwise, it just iterates the count. Okay, so I've explained it to myself now enough to be happy with it. Oops, I'm just going to copy that wording and make that another commit. Cleaner use of pointer move listener. Yeah, that is cleaner in my opinion. Obviously, it's my opinion. I wrote that. So we did these. Oh, wait, did we do that? Fixed style for loading. Yeah, we did that with just a CSS change this time. Bigger Monaco, we did that. So we've done all of those. So here's another one. Winamp skin is a zip. So that's true. Basically, the reasoning behind this, oops, let's go back to the demo, was for the Winamps. Whoa, what happened? Did I kill the server? Something broke. Let's open this up again. What did I kill here? Oh yeah, something's wrong there. Let's try this again and see if it's still broken. Hopefully not. It'd be weird if it was broken because I'm not even sure what I did. Okay, it's fixed. Let's go to the skins. Documents, skins. So basically Winamp skins, if you right click, only option I have now is to open. But I happen to know that Winamp skins are just zip files for the most part. Or at least they're compatible with zip files if they're not. They're zip files to me. So what I wanted to do was to just allow File Explorer as a secondary option. And that's as simple as going into the extensions and saying for WSZ files, WebAmp is the default, but the secondary is File Explorer. And then one other piece is that I have this constant I use to keep track of which things can be opened like that. And I just have to say that .wsz files can also be opened like that. Now, when we go back to the browser and we open skins again, now when I right click, you can see the second option and you can open it in File Explorer. And now I can actually see the pictures from the skin. And I can even open up the text files and look at the content of the Winamp skin and get cool information about it. So that's cool. That's a simple one. What did I call that? Winamp skin is a zip. It's people. That's a Soylent Green reference, by the way. Okay, another commit here. Winamp skin is a zip. Yes, it is indeed, sir. Switch over to the browser again, and let's see what's next. Clean via script. What does that mean? I don't even know what I wrote there. Ah, yes. So I added a command called clean to just like delete the next node and out folders because I sometimes delete those. But at the same time, this command was giving me some trouble with my yarn installation, so I'm not even going to do it this time. Let's just ignore that. We already exported global. We refactored Monaco. We cleaned it up a bit. Custom scroll bars. This is one I'm proud of. This took a lot of work. More than I'm proud to say almost. Actually, didn't I change this twice? Yeah, I did this too. Move blur to... These are tiny MCE. This is a simple right click change. This is loading changes to the loading that I do. So these two pieces here. And this is actually coming from this file. So this file here, I'm just going to get from here. But to show you the basics of what I've done here. So in the styled file manager, I wanted to have a scroll bar. Let me rewind here a tiny bit. Let's go to the styled file manager and open that. And now let's go into the browser and look at the styled file manager, and I'll show you the problem. So we open it here. As you can see here, there's icons below this, but there's no way to scroll. Scrolling the mouse doesn't do it. If I make it bigger, I can see the icon. So at first it's as simple as an overflow. So if we add overflow here as auto, you'll see that we now have a scroll bar and it fixes the problem. But the scroll bar is not dark. It's not matching the styling of Windows. So we need to match that. And there's actually CSS to change all of those colors and all the different stuff about it. And that's what we're going to start with. So I'm going to copy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a CSS snippet. I'm going to make a file for it called scroll bars. And I'm just going to import it here because I'm going to possibly use these scroll bars in other places. So the way I've decided to do that is like this. Is that we make it into a file that has a CSS snippet and then I just dump it in here wherever I want to use these custom scroll bars. Because the file itself is a little chunky. It's a serious... There's a little bit of code necessary to make your own custom scroll bars. Now let's go into the styles common and we're going to make a file here called scrollbars.ts and I'm just going to paste it in here and save that. Now this will get us halfway here, but I think at the same time we broke some stylint rules. Let me just double check that because maybe we didn't. Because I have a second part of my commit here where I had to ignore some more rules that I broke. Ah, yes, these pseudo classes. That must still be broken, I would assume. Let's double check that. I'm going to close the scroll bar one, and then I'm going to open it again. What if we run stylint here? Yarn run stylint. No, you don't have to do the run part of it. Because actually it was complaining quite a bit about these selectors like vertical and stuff, but inside a CSS snippet, which is what I've done here, this CSS styled component snippet, it doesn't seem to be complaining about that, which is nice. And yet everything else is still working here. What if I do that? Oh, interesting. I seem to have lost style checking within this folder. What if I do it here? Oh, in general, that's not working. Does that happen? Oh, wait, here's the CSS here. Sorry. Okay, that actually worked. So that's proper stylint checking. But somehow the scroll bar one, it didn't. I wonder if it's because it's in this CSS thing. If it's... Oh, no, there we go. Okay. Well, I'm happy I don't have to change the rules. Basically, all that I did with stylint here was I added another selector called pseudo class no unknown because it was considering these unknowns. These being like here, single button, vertical, decrement. Anyways, these are the special WebKit scroll bar selectors that you need to actually color the scroll bar. And there's a lot of them. There's for the corners, for the track, for the thumb part, for when you're clicking, for when it's active, for when it's hovered, for the up arrow, the down arrow, the left, the right. And not only did I have to set the colors, but I also had certain widths that I wanted to be, this is transparent, this needs to have a padding box. This was all required to get it to look exactly like Windows, basically. At least this was my fine tuning. And one part that's kind of weird here. So I had to, when you do this custom one, you lose the default arrows. So you basically have no arrows or you have to make your own. And I've made my own. I have them at the top here. They're just these 4 SVGs, paths. And it's a weird way that I've decided to do it to try to make the files look a little shorter. This is just the boilerplate SVG. They're all the same width and height. They're all the same. They're all a certain color. And they're only these 4 directions. So this allows me to make the different arrows. And here's where I use them here as the URLs, as SVG URLs, basically, which I'm formatted here. Here's the SVG, the URL part of it, data image SVG plus, and then you can just dump the thing in right there. So this works. One issue I had that's weird, if you see here for color, I've used the HTML name instead of a hex value or like RGB or HSLA, any of that. I don't know why, but if the up arrow and down arrow are both RGB colors, only one of them will show, only the up arrow. But if they're names, both show. I don't know why. We can try it right now. I'll just show you a demo. So there's the black bar. So now it's black. I think that that's much improved, honestly. It's cool. When you click, it changes color. I got the one here. There's a little bit on the left and right. There's 1 pixel spacing, just like in Windows. There's no spacing between the arrow button and the bar, like in Windows. Same for left and right. This also works. I don't have an easy way to show an example of that, but I've got it working horizontally as well. But if you see here the arrows, those are custom arrows that I've made. The default browser one is actually a pure triangle, whereas this is more like a triangle that's missing one side kind of thing. But watch here. So we have these 2 arrows. They're both light gray. Now watch this. I go into the code, and here they are here. So they're dim gray, these 2, up and down. Instead, I'm going to say it's RGB. I'll say this one's white. I'm going to see if 1 can be set, because before I was okay with 1. Let's try that. Go back to the browser. Oh, wow, that's weird. Oh, wow, I must have just broke the world, actually. Well, for testing purposes, that doesn't bode well for showing you what I wanted to show you. Why would it do that? Why would it do that? Well, one day I'll come back to this. Dim gray turns out to be very close to the color I wanted. Same with black. It was close to just black when you actually are active on it. But I don't know why it was doing this. At one point I had this as very basic data URLs, and it was still giving me that garbage. But now I'm so far removed from the original code that who knows, maybe I had something wrong, but it really didn't seem like I did. Honestly, I think there's like a demo where I originally found these scroll bars. Here's the dark bars. They're using them here. And I wonder if I could find an example. You see, for colors, for colors, he is using RGB though. Yeah, I never really figured out why it didn't work for me. Is it because they're different colors? What if they're the same color? Oh wait, these aren't even the same thing. That's on hover. Here's down. Oh, and it was the same color. Yeah, I don't know why I'm having such trouble with it. Well, I've made a note to try to fix that because the arrows still aren't quite the way I wanted them to be. They're pretty close. But it's weird, that coloring thing, because now I'm not able to show you. Why did that not work, I wonder? Why couldn't I pass RGB brackets like 000? Why is that wrong? I'm surprised, because it's just a string. Okay, it really hates that. There's something wrong with that. Because that really breaks things. Okay. We'll keep it the way it is. This fits in much better. This is how it, very, very close to how it looks in Windows. My Windows. I mean, it depends what version you got. Okay. Let's close these million windows I have here. And let's take a peek at what actually has changed. Oh no, I didn't mean to close that window. There we go. So what actually changed was almost nothing. The scroll bar here and the scroll bar here. Adding it. And I didn't need those stylant rules, so that's nice. I could go over this more, but the basics of it are just this WebKit scroll bar. It's customizable, so every little piece I had to color. I don't really see a need to go over every color and every little color decision, but they were all to copy a Windows as usual. Did anything else change here? Nope. That was just a slight adjustment and tweaking of things. Okay. Custom scroll bars and scrolling in File Explorer. Let's say. Add that file word in there, or else what are you talking about? What else? I think there's a little bit more. Some tiny MCE changes I had, I believe. Yes. This is a simple one. Add new Rtf entry. Basically, for the tiny MCE, I made a file format called WHTML. And I just want the right-click menu to have the ability to make one of those, just in the same way that it does in Windows. You can make a new document, or you can make a new rich text document. So that's what this is right here. Rich text document. Now, if you go to the browser and you right-click and you go new, you've got a rich text document. And you can open it up and you can see it. And another thing I'm going to change in the next commit is that, as you see here, it's in read-only mode, but it knows the file was empty. So if it's an empty file, I'm going to have it not do that, which we will do as soon as we commit this and see whatever the next little tweak is. Add new RTF menu entry. Yep, like so. What's next? So now we have a few tiny MCE ones, I think. These ones here. Oh, my nose is itchy. It's part of having a beard. It's time for a cut. Time to trim the mustache, trim the hedges. The nose hedges. GitHub's a little slow today, it feels like. What's this one? Allow async. Right, this was a minor thing. I don't know how relevant this is. Just in TinyMCE, I saw that there's this async true, which allows it to load things a little quicker. Just as soon as certain things are ready, it boots something up. And by default, it's not on. So I thought, hey, it can't hurt. So let's just add it here. I think actually there was 2 commits because I added it and then I meant to add it to the config. So I moved it to the config. Let's just save ourselves a little time and I will just copy the config version directly. Oh man, GitHub is really slowed down, or maybe it's my internet. I never expect it to be my internet nowadays because I've had such a solid connection for so long. QRST should be there. There we go. So we'll just add script async. I didn't even literally notice a difference, unfortunately, but I think in theory that could be a little bit faster to the user feeling. Allow async loading of TinyMCE. So that was actually these 2 things. Moved it to the right settings file. I don't have to open that. Next one up, moved blur to styling. What does that mean? Some bad descriptions. Moved blur to styling. Oh, before it loads, I have no idea, but you see what I mean about GitHub being slow. Assuming my stream is okay. I don't see any complaints. Excellent connection, it says on YouTube's side, but GitHub's side, this is not excellent. This is bogus, man. Well, let's hope one of those loads, right? Just to continue the stream. But in the meantime, what we can do... I'm just wondering if there's any we haven't done other than this. We just did those. No. Okay. Let's go on to blur. All right, this was another simple one. Moved blur to styling. Ah, yes. If you remember the override styling, and then I added it here. Is it better there? Yeah, I think it's better here in styled Monaco. So basically, for the styled Monaco editor, I've added the attribute part here. You can add attributes and you can pass in things like event handlers directly into the styled component. So I'm going to do that rather than having it inside here, inside the actual app. I'm just going to say inherit to the style wrapper. It's going to auto fix that problem of these the submenu issue, basically. Well, let's just take this one because it's having a little import hiccup there. We'll help it out. There we go. So now it's using, right. So now, yeah, the now on blur kicks in from inherit right in the component instead of having to be attached after the fact here. I preferred that. And in general, I try to do that. Apply as much to the styled components when I'm initializing it. Moved blur event to styled component init. That's a bit better wording. And what was the last one on our docket here? Was the one I was telling you, very simple. When it loads the file, only kick in set read only mode if the contents length is 0. That's just right. Where is that? That's a TinyMCE thing. Here it is. No, here it is. There we go. So I'm just going to add the condition right in front of it that if the content length is greater than 0, then set it to read-only mode. So now if we go back to that one file, we refresh the page here. So this is empty and we open it and you see we're already in edit mode. Versus if we open a blog post here, you see we're in design mode, or we're not in edit mode. And I can't delete anything. But then if I click here now, I can delete it. There we go. And you can see I can right click and open with Monaco, and we can actually look at the HTML directly. But it didn't detect it as HTML because that's something I have to do. I might have a thing where we pass certain file languages that it's not known. Let me make a note for that one too. Pass language to Monaco when unknown. We'll help it out when we can. Otherwise, did I make a note of that? Move blur event to styled lint. That was actually done here. And then this latest commit was called the tiny MCE design mode for empty files. Yes, if it's empty, put it right into what's called design mode. That's what they call it. The opposite of read-only mode. I think they call it design mode. Now I'm not sure if I just made that up. Anyways, let's commit that one. And we have a small list today. I don't know if it was this week, but I feel like I didn't get as much done, unfortunately. I think I really spun my wheels on that status bar, actually. The scroll bar, sorry. It took like 2 or 3 days of coloring to get it right. But now that it works, I'm happy with it. If we go to it, yeah, here it is too. Yeah, I like it. Looks nice. Let's just make sure we haven't missed anything here. The Monacos, the Babel, cleaned up the pointer events, cleaned up the scripts, the globals, got our custom scroll bars. Oh man, we didn't do File Explorer loading, of course. This one's critical. What am I talking about last but not least? Jeez, hit myself in the head. This was a big one. So this is that when you open up File Explorer, when it's loading, we get the working on it message that's a part of Windows too. And there's actually quite a bit of code here. I'm really frustrated that I almost missed this. I mean, I obviously would have applied it and noticed it was missing at some point, but it would have been unfortunate to have to go a stream and do this next week. So let's do another git apply of this one, and then let's also look at this. Look at this, look at this. So first change, what's the first one worth talking about? So I've added to the file managers this idea of hide loading. So for the desktop and the start menu, I don't want the file managers that are being used there to ever be in a loading state. Just show me the icons the second you can without any kind of waiting confirmation, because those things are inherent to the desktop environment. So these two are the cases here where I'm passing hide loading now. On the use folder side, I now export the use folder hook. I also say there's an isLoading Boolean that I pass, which is from a state that I'm keeping track of. And it's basically only when update files is first occurring and when it needs to access the FS scenario. These other three here are just updating states. But whenever update files is triggered, I'm going to say loading true, and then I'm going to say loading false when it's done. And by default, it starts as true. So it's going to show true right at the start when it kicks in. So this first true here is actually not necessary, but that's okay. And then this one here sets it as false, and then it'll continue that loop every time update files needs to happen, which is just doing refreshes and stuff, I guess. And then it exports as loading, so that whatever is done with the loading status is done elsewhere. The isLoading component itself is just a basic div. I've decided to put the text inside the div here, so I'm using a pseudo element and doing content, saying it's white text, display flex so that we can center it here. And I've put a gap at the top of 18 pixels. That's just like how it is in Windows, position-wise. And the font is 12, which I don't think was the default, but that is the size that I want it to be. Actually, yeah, I don't know if there is even a default font size. Is there? Do I have a font size for the app? Doesn't look like it, no. I pretty much specify font size when it matters. So I'll specify it here. Otherwise, I think it inherited something a little bigger. And then the last file that changed, here we take that styled loading component. There's where we accept the hide loading now, optionally. Here's where we take is loading from the hook. What about this? Where did this come from? Why is this here? Ah, yes. So these originally were hooks over here, but because now I'm putting these behind a condition, the hooks need to run. The hooks can't be conditional. So I had to move these two hooks up here to the file drop part, and the folder context menu are now their own attributes that get applied here only when they're necessary. So the condition I added right to the return JSX was, if it's not hide loading and it is loading, then show the loading thing. Otherwise, just do what you were doing before. So that's the basics of it. I'm not sure how easy it'll be to show here, but I think I can show it. I think the trick to showing it is to open up Calibri, which slows things down. And then when things are slow, it needs to load. So let's try that. So I'll open up Calibri, and then right when it's about to load, I'm going to open up File Explorer, and you'll see that it says waiting. So watch. There you see, wait, working on it, and then it shows. So that was as smooth as I can get that to be. But it's better than before where you would just see an empty folder, and you'd be like, what's happening? So that's part one of this, is the File Explorer loader. And actually what I'm in the next commit is just a very minor change. I'm just going to apply that change right now. We're going to go into the styled loading, and the piece that I add, oops, well, there you can see the change, spoiler, but I'm going to add it right here. So basically when it's in that state of showing working on it, and you move the mouse over that, it's going to have a cursor doing the loading thing, which is kind of how Windows works too. And I set the height and width, again doing this taskbar accounting for thing that I'm not a fan of, but this just allows it to be the proper size. So anywhere you put your cursor on that window, when you see working on it, you're also going to see the mouse and a loading symbol. And I'm going to use this in a few other places. There's actually some other places I want to use this same loading logic for the container apps, for TinyMCE maybe, and for what else? Monaco, I think. Those are the main ones. Any of the apps, basically. Whenever the apps are trying to load their libraries, especially when a user's on a slow internet connection and they're not doing local dev like I'm doing, there's going to be that delay where the thing is empty looking. So that's where I want to have that progress bar, and I've got some notes to do that as well, of course. But for now, I think we got enough here as far as the basics of the File Explorer loading, which is an important piece. So File Explorer loading... Actually, that's about it. That's all I need to say. So, File Explorer loading. Great. Let's just commit that as is. I think this is the shortest video I've ever had. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a shorter video. They don't all have to be long. But to be honest, I think I'm out of things to show. We just did those two now. We did that. We did all of those. We're done. We're done. Now we're really done. So yeah, it was a shorter week for commits. I made a lot of progress in moving notes around. If you see here, I've got my notes very figured out now. I need 126 more hours, by the way, of notes. Like I do estimates for each one of my notes, how long it's going to take. So I estimate about at least 120 hours of work left. I plan to release the app. When was I planning to release it? 83 days from now on my birthday. That's still the plan. I think 126 hours of work in 83 days isn't unreasonable for evenings. A couple hours a day. I mean, if I did 2 hours every day, that's like 160 hours. But I don't think, let's say I'm going to miss 20 of those days, let's say, or more, of not doing any work at all, let's say. And then some days, some evenings, I do 4 hours or something, you know, put Mr. Robot on one of my screens, and I could go all night long, man. And give me some Red Bull. So that's it, I think. I think we did it. We did a short episode this week, but we got the IDE editor, which is kind of cool. And we got the general improvements. We got some good notes of things I need to fix, bugs I found, unfortunately. But in general, we moved the ball forward, I'd like to say. Like I guys told you with my estimate, I think we're maybe 3 months away, less than 3 months away from being able to release this thing and having people play with it. That won't solve all these notes around the whiteboard, but I've noticed that most of those aren't so important, and those are going to be things that'll keep me going in the project for year 2, for year 3, you know. Actually, the outer edge is probably only another 1 year of work or less currently, And then at that point, I would really be like, what else do I add? But I'm sure there's going to be a bunch more to add along the way. And thank you guys for joining me for a little part of it. If you like this video, throw me a like. If you want to subscribe, please do. Motivates me, keeps me going, and it's much appreciated. So thank you very much. I'm going to end the shortest video ever at 1 hour and 40 minutes. See you guys in the next one. Goodbye.